Hello, and welcome or welcome back to the Obsidian Mirror, where we pause a moment to reflect using symbol systems for introspection. I am not sure what the cards have in store for us today, so I invite you to discover with me. I am glad to report that I have located another chair here on the property that is less squeaky, so I'm grateful for that. Any of you who are familiar with the channel or my videos might recognize the setup as one for a shadow integration read. I invite you to do whatever it is that you need to do to settle into this experience with me while I shuffle and select the cards. This could be finding a beverage of choice, a snack, a more comfortable position. If you have some excess energy, now might be a good time to wiggle it out, dance it out, do some jumping jacks if you are able. But yeah, maybe get some excess junk out, however you need to. Sometimes energy, anxiety, stuff from the day can kind of sit with us. And you are more than welcome to work it out however you need to right now. Just a little personal life update. I got to make dinner for the community here tonight, and I did it in a crock pot. I haven't cooked with a crock pot in some time, so it was nice getting back into that rhythm. And I made goulash, although it was definitely a hippie version of goulash. I used sweet potato instead of regular or russet or whatever you're used to probably. And I added kale. It turned out pretty tasty. I was pleasantly surprised and reminded that I do actually know how to cook. This is the first time I was cooking for this community, so a little bit of self-doubt creeped in, I think, which is okay. It happens. But I got overwhelmingly positive feedback overall that I think was genuine. People went back for second and third and even fourth helpings. The bowls we have available right now are small, so I'm not surprised about the fourth helpings if the serving sizes were limited in the first place. And while I'm talking about food and effort and giving back to community, I'm wondering, what is something delicious that you have been able to eat and or cook lately? Have you been able to make food for your community, or did somebody cook for you? Do you like or even know what goulash is? I have so many questions about you, so bear with me while I try and get to know this intentional community a little bit more. Feel free to interact in any way you feel called to. Like, comment, subscribe, share. You know the do. You know the you know the do. You know what to do if you want to. But I'm going to preface this spread a little bit by gently reminding you that as a shadow integration read, it can be a little challenging, so give yourself whatever grace you need to at this time. And if you need to click off and return later, you are more than welcome. And if you choose not to return, that's fine too. This is your process, and you are allowed to do it at your own pace. I apologize for any background noises you may hear. I do not have ultimate control over my environment at this time. So I am doing the best I can with what I have, and am doing my best to also sit in gratitude that I am able to do this at all, and that you are here with me wherever you are, and that we get to share this time together. I am going to take a few deep breaths and get into this energy before I start with interpretation. I invite you to join me, starting now. For the shadow theme, we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. In this deck, it is also known as hatred. And the sense that I get right now is of a seed, maybe even a seed that we don't want, a seed that is given to us, or perhaps misselected picked up on accident, maybe mistaken for something else. The beginning of something. Something that has the potential for rooting, and something that has to do with our emotional world because of the Suit of Cups. I wonder if there is something around us or inside of us that could turn into hatred, and seems likely to. And I wonder if that is mandatory. Because this card is in the reverse, I see that there is the possibility of choice, of discarding the seed somehow, deciding not to plant it, to prevent it from taking root. I wonder if this could represent an automatic reaction, something that is habitual, that looks like it could very well start again. And if there's an opportunity here for us to nip it in the bud, for us to uproot this old habit, this automatic reaction, and to not let ourselves get carried away with whatever the moment could have pulled from us in the past. This gives me the idea of potential for growth in a different direction. It is the very early detection, the very early choice to do something differently. With the Ace of Cups, I wonder, what are we able to hold right now as a human-shaped vessel that has the capacity to hold an emotional experience? Where do we end and the emotions begin? Do we find ourselves consumed? Do we identify more with the water or the cup? Where's the water coming from? Did it originate within us, or was it given us? And what do we do with it? I really do see the power of decision in this card right now, and that not everything deserves space in our personal garden. We decide as mental gardeners what we can cultivate, what we can eradicate, what we can make space for, and how we move forward in our lives, and how that affects others. I'm going to move on to the manifestation represented by the Three of Pentacles. Now, this card speaks to me of cooperation, of a shared goal, of at least a little bit of reciprocity, of mutual understanding and mutual witnessing, teamwork. It makes me think teamwork makes the dream work. And an exchange of ideas and or energies and or working together. Because in this card, there's the primary colors making up the three distinct individual aspects that are linked and create a mixture of color between them. I wonder where in our life are we a part of something larger than ourselves, as represented by the mountain here. I wonder if and where and how we are participating in this climb up the mountain, or perhaps it is the making of the mountain. Maybe it is a mapping. I wonder about shared responsibility, because obviously these pentacles all look a little different. Some have thinner aspects and thicker aspects. Everyone has their own set of strengths and weaknesses. And this card makes me think that a well-rounded team can accomplish basically anything that it puts its joint mind to. And that because there is more than one mind involved, harmony is required. Disharmony will bring everything down. It will make the possible impossible. Triangles are sacred in many cultures. And I think that I really like triplicate. It makes me think of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, or the three aspects of the Mother Goddess, known as the Maiden, Mother, and Crone. It makes me think of there being an interplay between aspects, and while this very well could represent a community or a joint effort, it could also be seen as three aspects of the self. We have the physical body, emotional body, and mental body, or the conscious mind, unconscious mind, and subconscious mind. I think that there are many ways that we can interpret a triplicate self. And I think that it would be worth considering how these aspects of ourselves are playing together, how we can maintain or strive for harmony in terms of a goal, how we can choose to strive for self-mastery of some kind. I'm going to move on to the identity pattern, which is represented by the Bardo archetype card. And I'm going to look up the meaning for this card because this deck is still new to me. So thank you for your patience while I reach for the proper resources to provide the best information that I can at this time. Memorization is a skill that I am hoping to cultivate, and it can be challenging. We have here for the Bardo, when the veil between this life and the next is thinned, energy is stirred. This allows for remarkable healing and vision. When light, spaciousness, grace, forgiveness, truth. When dark, torment, dislocation, hallucination, transience. I'm going to have to think on this for a second. I think that reaching for the book may have gently interrupted the flow that I was in, which is fine. Sometimes there are little interruptions in life, and I think that is an opportunity for me to apply some grace and forgiveness, as this card suggested, so it's very well timed. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God, for the lesson in patience. I think that in terms of this spread, there may be an idea of a splitting of the self, of some kind of internal fracture. Perhaps it was a distortion that has always been there, and we have found the right or a different angle to see it from. I think maybe there is space here for a new connection with self. Maybe that is a new way of seeing our automatic responses. Maybe that is a new way of describing and experiencing ourselves. I think that there is the opportunity for a deeper insight than we maybe had the capacity for before. And to me, that's very exciting. I really do love transformational energy and transitions and liminality. The in-between is my jam, I guess I could say. The bardo also brings to mind how important giving ourselves space is. The world can be, at least in my culture and where I am, so fast-paced, and it can be rather demanding of our time and attention and energy. And I know a lot of people who feel robbed of their peace, robbed of their quiet, robbed of their rest. Like they don't get to slow down and they don't get to rest deeply or rest enough. And I just want to mention how I have had experiences in my life that felt very similar. And I am in a place right now where I am allowed to slow down for a while. And I can't tell you how valuable that is to me, that I get to connect with my body at my own pace. I get to rest. I get to sit in peace and quiet and close my eyes and focus only on my breath. I get to spend a few minutes every day where there is nothing demanded of me. I don't have to make a decision. I don't have to get up and run around. And so I want to say that I hope you get to have restorative moments in your life, whatever that looks like, at least a few minutes a day. It is so important to establish calm every day. And it sounds woo-woo, maybe, some kind of hippie speak. But medically, it is so important to let our nervous systems switch into the parasympathetic response, to calm down and relax, which can be very, very difficult. Being able to ground and center also helps us connect with the different aspects of ourselves, of our lives, of our communities and our decisions, and make choices from a place of calm instead of activation. It brings us back to our power, our awareness of self, and our ability to choose wisely. I'm going to move on to the mirror question, which is represented here by the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Nines speak of cycle endings, wrapping things up, tying up loose ends, post-harvest energy, where you have all of the resources in front of you and you finally get to count them up. There's a tally that can be had if you want. Now this card has 9 pentacles inside of 4 feathers, and 4s speak to stability. And in this diamond shape, that suggests wealth. In the reverse, I see potential here. I see that things can be, how do I say this? I can feel it and I can see it in shapes. And sometimes finding the word is hard, but it feels like going home and knowing that you have all of your bills paid and being able to take off your shoes and sit down for a while and enjoy a good meal that you didn't have to stress about the cost of, and taking your time as you wind down towards bed, and that moment at the end of the day after your night routine when you get to crawl into a bed that is just right for you, and pulling up the covers and that big breath of satisfaction, knowing that you are safe and that you did your best and that it's going to pan out. The ability to relax deeply before sleep, knowing that you've done it. Whatever it is, you've done it. And this is the reward. You get a good night's sleep. A night that is pleasant and not plagued by nightmares. You know that whatever tomorrow brings, you can handle it. You have the proof. You handled it before, and you are enjoying that proof now. Oh, doesn't that sound delightful? And if you have that, I congratulate you. It can be really tough to get there, and you have. I'm going to do snaps for you. Thank you, Elle Woods, for being a delight. And if this is something that you are striving for, I think that this spread represents an opportunity to be more cognizant and aware of the seeds that we pick up along the way, and which ones we choose to plant and which ones we choose to let go of. Hatred rots us. Hatred wastes our precious, valuable energy that could be directed towards more positive ends. I think this spread is asking us to look at what is in our garden, what we might want to root out of the garden and compost for something else, where we might want to make space and plant something that suits us better. Personally, I love cherries, and I am not a fan of hatred. So if it were my garden, I would pull out all the hated, rotted, unworthy roots and plant cherry trees. I think this spread is, excuse me, I'm digesting. is asking us if we want to take a deeper look at how our multifaceted selves are playing with each other, and if there is an opportunity for more harmony that could help us become more efficient and more authentic as we strive for a mountaintop. And if this feels more representative of a community or a joint effort of some kind, it makes me wonder if there are more aspects that we could be aware of, if there is more we can learn about ourselves and anyone else involved that could make the task smoother, easier, and or more enjoyable. I think that we are reminded here to give ourselves the grace, space, and forgiveness needed at this time so that we can lighten our load in some way. That could be an emotional load. That could be undue stress on our nervous systems, on our bodies, or some other aspect. And that there is real potential here, something that is attainable, and that perhaps a slight recalibration could help us towards that end. I'm going to close us out with a deep breath, and you are invited to breathe with me, starting now. Thank you for joining me here today, and maybe I'll see you again on the Obsidian Mirror.